Blessings, fellow travelers, deeper into the Mythica, to this episode of Akasha Yoga, where I'm going to talk about awareness, access, and the manifestation of abundance. In Akasha Yoga, we come from the understanding that we live in a friendly, abundant universe. The abundance is always around us. The energy, the life force, the prana, mana, chi is always pulsing up through the lands for us. There are always opportunities, there are always synchronicities, there are always ideas in the field that can help lead us to a more expansive version of our reality. Yet while this is true, while paradise exists there for us potentially, we don't always have access to it. We don't always see or perceive the grace and the glory that is around us. And what we cannot perceive, we cannot receive. And so we wander through a realm of shadows and confusion, unable to perceive the ideas that will lead us forward into the more expansive version of our existence. While this is frustrating, we can be heartened by the fact that the idea is there. The expansion is there. The love that you want is there. The prosperity that you want is there. You merely have to clean your lens so that you are able to see those things. And in this way, the yoga of story, the yoga of the Akasha, is the story of that blossoming awareness, where we are coming to gradually anchor in the understanding that we are living in a potential heaven on earth, and that we are learning how to anchor that witnessing of that idea into the field. In this way, awareness, access to that awareness, and abundance are intrinsically linked. For without access to the awareness, without awareness of something, you can't act on it, you can't receive the abundance. Without the idea, you can't take the action. Without the awareness of the right way to do something, you wander. This is why we work on clearing the channels of ourself, such that we may receive the idea more clearly. In Akasha Yoga, along with asserting that we live in a friendly and supportive universe, we are also coming from the perspective that yourself has a unique thumbprint. Yourself has a unique aspect. Yourself has a unique divine design, a seed within, a blueprint that is your most perfect self. And that in the context of our ongoing heroic journey, we are learning to discover what that truly is through an endless amount of conditions and circumstances that are our sacred path through experience. From this vantage, we understand in our divine design, there is something that wants to be born through us. Something that comes from divine source intelligence and comes through the structure of our self and wishes to be born, the way that a flower wishes to push through the dirt of the unconscious and blossom out to the sun. In order to receive this idea, we must clear the lens of our perspective. We must heal the distortions in our perspective, such that we can have access to the abundance that is already in the field, that is our birthright. Again, this is illuminating certain principles and expressions of the Akasha Yoga. We're saying that you live in a friendly, abundant universe. You were designed with a particular purpose. Your access to the awareness of the ideas of the abundance and the fulfillment of that purpose opens and closes. Sometimes it's clear, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it is, I love these things, sometimes it is splintered. Whoops. Sometimes it is splintered and unclear. Sometimes it is not. Sometimes it is rainbow. sometimes it is not. Bear with me, I'm working with the effects. I pushed the wrong one. In this way, we come to recognize that all of our perspectives, all of the many perspectives we have, are us clearing the lens such that we may more truly, such that we may more truly see the opportunities that are there for us, such that we may more truly have access to the ideas and the abundance that wish to come through us. This is a basic principle of movement towards heaven on earth, where we realize that the opportunity exists for us, friendly universe, but we might not be aware of it. So we ask and answer the question, why are we doing spiritual technique? Why do we do clearings? Why do we set our intentions? Why do we meditate? All of these things are done to clear the channel of the self so that we have access to the awareness, and from that place are then able to bring forth the idea that wishes to be born through us. And this is the essence of the journey to knowing the self. This is the essence of the journey of revealing the gift within us. You know, on the quest with Yeshua, we experienced the principle that there is something that wishes to be born through you, expressing itself in the snatches and grasps and glimpses that we had of the idea of Into the Mythica, or how to market, or how to present ourselves, in which we were constantly coming to see and gradually remember consistently that whereas the idea was constant, our access was not. And that without the access, the idea couldn't be shaped. This played out as endless reiterations of the shaping of the Mythica spell and the way that she functions. Endless iterations of whether or not we were going to present Into the Mythica or Akasha Yoga, whether we were going to market this way or do this or do this, all of which were the expression of the principle that there is an idea that wants to come through you, and that we are forging our way towards the clarity of that idea along our heroic journey through the trials and triumphs of our conditions. In which, as we continue to do the practices, as we continue to clear, we had more access to the idea, more access to the abundance, more access to the expansion. And this in turn solidified the nature, the understanding in Akasha Yoga that everything that we want is already there on our timeline. It's simply a matter of us coming to witness it more deeply. And in the act of that witnessing, changes from a particle to a wave and manifests from potential to actual and manifests in our life. And this too is a question of access. In order to live in the magical world, you need to be aware of the magical world. If you don't have access to that awareness, it is easy to believe that the magical world doesn't exist. In order to have access to the abundance, you must have awareness of the abundance. You must have awareness of the idea or the synchronicity or the way to approach things that will lead to the different conditions. What gives us access to this? What clears the lens such that we are able to see that which wishes to come through us? What is the shape of the lens? What is the nature of its reception? How do we look at this in a yogic way to transform the shape of the lens and thus allow the reception of the idea that leads to the abundance? This is part of the practices, the contextual understanding of Akasha Yoga, where we are coming to see our life as a progression of awareness, gradually awakening to the majesty and the abundance that is our birthright, gradually deepening into the more superheroic, more expressive, version of ourself. Abundance is your birthright. Prosperity is all around you. As we come to witness it, as we come to recognize that the abundance is there, we might not be able to see it. As we come to do the practices to clear that vision, and we remind ourselves that the abundance is there, we see the goal. The goal of clearing the lens of the self so that you may unearth the treasure that has always been waiting within you. For more information, please sign up for my Akasha Yoga course, coming soon, and may you live a mythical life.